There it is. Cool. Hello, check 1 2. Can anybody hear us?
Oh, they can't. It's fine.
No, I'm sure they can. Just gotta wait. I'm sure there's a delay on stream. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, YouTube in particular has like anywhere up to like a 20-30 second delay.
Okay, cool. I usually just wait for the chat to tell me if we're here or not. Who's gonna do the first one? Sailing Master. All right.
Yeah, we just heard. Cool.
Okay, let's see. Can you guys hear D? Can you hear both of us? I think that's an important question.
Welcome. Nah,
No, I think it should be able to.
they should be able to hear me.
Okay, some of these names I recognize, and some of these people I don't. Oh, awesome.
I recognize them.
Okay. Wait. If you're from D's chat or D's Discord, say something that only you guys would know.
Oh no! Don't let him free.
I don't know. I'm recognizing some people. Okay, who are my people? I definitely recognize Ponyboy, Dyphus. I think Jonathan's mine. I'm not positive. Archmagister Hikaru, welcome. Okay. Let me raise up D just a little bit. Give me a second.
Hello. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, I can tell which ones are yours.
Oh no.
Awesome.
I know.
I'm just watching chat.
Dum 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 dum.
Hello, Basset Hound. Cool. We're gonna wait just a minute or two longer for other people to trickle in. But going down the list, I'm I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna go from the top and just say hi to people. Let me see. Who in the world? Is Quebec yours? I'm guessing Quebec is yours.
Quebec's not mine. He's a friend of mine's. Them's.
Okay, cool. Thread Magpie, welcome. Sega Satchel, also welcome. And basically anyone who says Broob, I'm assuming, is tangentially connected to you. Rav, Sailing Master, Noodle Overlord, J4F Cyclone, Ponyboy, Towelstein, Dyphus? I can't remember, I'm sorry. You told me last time how to pronounce your name. Jonathan Martinez, Sega Satchel, Hazard, Kujacker, who else? Archmagister, welcome back. Sim, Sir Noble, Neutromancer. These are a lot of new names. Mr. Colorblind, Radis DD9, Fire Dragon, Neutromancer, oh my gosh, Abidosian Kulaktu. Welcome. And I think that's everybody else. Is this game about young janitors? Not the worst idea. Not the worst idea. Fantastic. Cool. D, anything you want to tell your fans? Because there's a bunch of people here for you, and
Guys,
you particularly.
Behave. I swear to God, behave. Good Lord. If there's any time to behave, it's now. They are very excitable. They really like it when they collab, mostly because they think my collabs are nice. So, yeah.
Well, this is bound to be a good day, I'm sure.
Yeah, good vibes. We almost had to cancel.
Yes, we did. Can you enlighten the chat on why we had to almost cancel just a second ago?
Okay, so I had a power outage. The power's been out since like early this morning, like freaking since I woke up. And so I was banking on the company, the electric company, be like, oh, they'll be done by like 4, and then it's 4 o'clock, and it's ticking, and it's ticking, and it's ticking, and then it's oh no. So I messaged Wintry. It's like 4:58, and I'm like, hey, I think we're gonna have to cancel. I'd love to keep doing this, maybe be on my phone, but honestly, I think the most responsible thing is just to cancel. And then literally 1 2 minutes, not 2 minutes later, light goes on immediately.
Yep.
Like,
That's how it goes.
they
Every
always say
time.
a hero comes at the literal last moment, but come on.
Yeah, it was the stream for me. I'm EST, so the stream starts at 8:30, and then D says at 8. Power's on. I was ready to switch entire PDFs to find a whole new game to research.
So sorry.
So I mean, it all works out. Today, oh, I'm sorry, Nitromance. I'm sorry to hear that. Today, we are going over Kids on Brooms. Kids on Brooms. Let me change the page here. Huh. Kids on Brooms. This is. Oh, we should probably introduce ourselves. Okay, so let's start there. But now you guys know what we're covering. Should I go first or should you go first?
You should go first. This is your channel, dog.
Okay, let me go first. Okay, hi, my name is Wintry. I usually cover D&D, or I have for the last 2 years, but only recently am I starting to learn more tabletop RPGs because things happened. TM. And and even as that has subsided, learning new TTRPGs is very, very fun. I only know about Kids on Brooms because of Misfits and Magic. And so
Misfits and Magic.
So when Dee recommended it, I was like, dang, that sounds like fun. So that's me. This is my channel, Wintry D&D. So welcome everybody who has never been here before. This live stream thing is a reoccurring thing, so it's good to have you. Pouncing to you. Introduce yourself.
Hi. Hi, I'm Dice Queen D. D's just fine. I call myself a TRPG analyst. I guess that's the most accurate thing. For various work positions, I just keep getting sent tabletop RPGs. I have 4 bookshelves of just RPGs, and unless you're talking about some like hyper obscure indie darling, I probably know what game you're talking about.
Which is awesome because I have played all of 3 different tabletop RPGs, so I'm only now learning about the rest of them. And boy, the first time I opened up itch.io, I was like, this is unreal. There's no way there's this many.
Yeah, no, there is a lot. Well, let's be honest, itch is mostly filled with Fishblade RPGs,
Yes,
so you don't have to worry about them.
Variations of Fishblade, which is incredibly popular nowadays. I'm glad it's finally seen it's got this limelight it deserves at this point.
Oh, you know what Fishblades are? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh,
It's
yeah, the
leaking.
meme. Of course, everyone knows the meme at this point.
The containment has broken about Fishblading.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
So I guess I should ask you, why specifically Kids on Brooms? Well, when you messaged me and I was like, hey, cool, you know a lot about TTRPGs. Which one would you want to cover? And this was one of the, I believe, 4 or 5 you selected. So why this one?
I chose one that was really easy and accessible to just learn. It's 2 has an alternative system from a D20. This one uses dice sizes, and if you can like get a hook or understanding of like one game that uses explosive dice sizes, you'll understand like most of them. So this is like a foothold, a really simple one, and 4, I felt as a D&D person, you would be someone aware of Misfits and Magic,
Yes.
which is a really good way to connect to this.
Yeah, that's valid. I am a huge Dimension 20 fan. So I've watched everything except Unsleeping City, I believe, and half of Fantasy High. But I've watched everything else. So Misfits and Magic was the Harry Potter satirical campaign, basically. And the system seemed pretty darn straightforward. When I was watching it, I'm like, okay, exploding dice, I get the concept. I don't know if there's much more mechanics beyond that besides, I think snap decision was something I wasn't was a term I wasn't familiar with, but otherwise I'm like, seems pretty straightforward.
We can get to that. Like a lot of RPGs actually covers the difference between like the different kind of roles, which is again one of the more weaker points of Dungeons and Dragons because they don't really differentiate it. The only time they really did was back in 3.5 with take 10 actions, but we can get to that when you get there.
Take 10 actions? Okay.
Oh,
you know,
no, not taking 10 actions.
Take 10.
Take 10.
Take 10, quotation marks, actions.
You know
okay.
what take 10 is.
I was like, well, the action economy must be crazy in this game. Must be wild.
Well, it is, honestly. If you've heard stories like the Peasant Railgun, the action economy in 3.5 is kind of a question mark.
The peasant railgun as a concept, if you can get that many peasants to line up, you've already won the game. I think everything past that point is extraneous. But one thing I wanted to ask you, because obviously when you when you DM'd me and we set this all up, I had to check out your stuff. So I watched like 5 or 6 of your videos.
Thank you.
By any chance, are you Filipino?
I am. That is a very curious answer. I am 2 types of Asian. I have been very vague as to which ones they are.
Because hear me out. Because I I clicked on a random point in one of your live streams, heard one of your relatives in the background, and they definitely had an accent that I'm very familiar with. So I'm like, if that's not Filipino. So I'm Philam. I'm a Filipino American. So
one of my parents is, yes.
Yeah. So what
the
do you
other part is Chinese.
I'm very familiar with the accent, and that caught me off guard, but I was excited to hear it. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Most people don't pick up on it. Yeah. No, I'm half.
Awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, that was just something I wanted to check before we get into this. Anyway, we should probably talk about the RPG. So, introducing, you guys can see it on stream, Kids on Brooms, beautiful cover art. Where do we start with this? Do we just start reading from the top, or is there something I should know?
A couple things to know about this book. 1, the book is less than 100 pages. That is really nice and really common with tabletop RPGs that are not Dungeons and Dragons. 2, because these kind of games act more like a portal into the whole situation. Do you know where D&D usually separates? Hi, this is the GMing section.
Yes.
Or like other RPGs. So, part of this is you will find a lot of information here scattered between advice on how to build your world, run the world, deal with the world, etc. There's several places where it does that. So you could start from world building at page 5, but if you want to learn, just jump right to character creation and understanding where the system starts, that's page 11.
Okay, so cornerstones, I guess. Does this game does have a game master, right? There's someone who's a game master and the other people are players, right? Okay.
Yes.
Is there like a recommended number of players, or is it just?
When it comes to tabletop RPGs, generally the recommended amount of players is like 3 to 5. Personally, sure. I would say the sweet spot's 4. Like D&D is one of the few games that really encourages like having parties of 9, 10, 11, 12.
No way.
I've run games of 12. I have run a game.
You've
of 12
run
for
games
people.
of 12? I could never. I started with a party of 8, but that fell apart very quickly, and I usually run games with 4 and 5. 12 is ridiculous. I could never.
I had to split the group. Okay, so we got to a point where like, so you know how like 4 players will argue on 4 different things? When 12 players argue, they factioned off into 3 groups that were working against each other, and I had to give them like different days because I'm like, no.
No way. That's at that point you just make a West Marches and you just schedule different games for different people. I don't know. I don't think I could personally have fun at a table with 12 different players. That would just be
yeah. But when everyone's like, when like multiple people want to play, and see, my belief is you need to get people's foot in the door to get them into everything.
Sure.
So I was like, I'm willing to do this to hook you on these things forever.
Yeah, that's valid. but I don't know if that's a sustainable thing.
It wasn't. It lasted only about 6 months. That was pretty good.
Okay, cool. I mean, that's a good long time. I'm going to read this opening little blurb on page 6, and we'll see where we go from there. It says, Kids on brooms. As you and your classmates push through the old library in the dark of night, the books rustle and snore, sleeping unaware upon their shelves. You pull your wand from the folds of your cloak, and its glowing blue end illuminates the door in front of you, the entrance to the banned books section. You watch as the copper snakes twist and turn around the lock that keeps students like you out, but you've been left with no choice. Your barn owl hoots softly upon your shoulder as you raise your wand to the knob. I wasn't ready for that. And whisper the unspoken words. The snakes recede and the door fades, leaving only cobwebs in its place. Then, from inside, you see the red glow of 3 eyes. The Keeper of Secrets knows you're here. In Kids on Brooms, you'll take the roles of witches and wizards who belong, in one way or another, at the magical school you all attend. A place full of mystery, danger, and thrilling adventure, from dealing with strict professors to facing down mythical beasts. Players will get the opportunity to ride brooms, brew potions, and cast powerful magic as they uncover their the incredible secrets their school and its inhabitants hold. I see.
You can very much be. It's very clear that Kids on Brooms is like, it's pointedly Harry Potter, but not run by J.K. Rowling.
Absolutely. So that is something I wanted to clarify with you. Is there like, is there a canon to this RPG, or is that something you invent? Like, you know how
there's no canon. There does have an RPG. It is something you invent.
Got it. Okay, cool. So, I'm guessing this world building section that comes up next. Oh, setting boundaries, of course. Obviously, before you start a session, if this wasn't common knowledge to everybody, make sure you discuss with your party in some sort of session 0. Draw some lines upon what you don't want to discuss in your campaign, what topics you don't want to cross. Lines and veils is a great system for that. X card, obviously, if you want to look that up, of ways to inform your DM if you are uncomfortable with any situations, and obviously ways to communicate before your DM starts prepping a game that nobody is asking for. Just personal respect.
The early parts of this are, setting your boundaries, your collaborative world building. Is there bigotry in this world? Literally, page 8 is just, is there bigotry? Let's talk about it. And I'm like, But I'm glad they're having a conversation about it, but also, page 8? Well,
what am I looking at here? Page. This is page 3. World building. Okay. Nice fill in the blank section on page 5.
Something you might like. Any brown parts are all the brown parts, like specifically on page 6 and onwards, are like example characters doing their own thing.
Oh, so these are just like, okay, cool. Okay, so basic world building here is name of school, location of school, head of school, not necessarily headmaster, I suppose. School is best known for blank. Favorite pastimes is blank. Notable landmark in the school is blank. Unconventional classes we have at school. Oh, that's sick. Cool. That makes sense. And then
I really like when games give you these little like Mad Libs, but for world building.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I like that.
Let me see. And after construction, each player shares one piece of the school's history, either known to be true or a rumor. Oh, okay, cool. So, is this something that's common in a lot of tabletop RPGs to like set up rumors right at the jump? Because
not necessarily rumors right at the jump, but the idea of setting up these side details collaboratively is actually quite common. Pride by Apocalypse, Blaze in the Dark, they'll be like, oh, what is the thing that's like happening around? And the more hooks you have, the more that will hopefully trigger or inspire people to like create characters attached to those hooks.
Of course, yeah. I remember I played a bit of Powered by the Apocalypse games. There is the relationships thing where you kind of link yourself to another character right from the jump, which is really neat. I'm surprised it's not like just standard in D&D. because it's super duper
Yeah,
useful.
this game actually, part of the character creation, it is you build a relationship with the person on your left. What is it?
Oh, wonderful. Okay, systems
Yeah.
of power. Let's see. I'm finally on page 8. Let's see. Go over
Yay.
different forms of bigotry and how you would not like or not like to see. You can select one of the following. Yeah, so this is basically tackling the fact that segregation literally exists in the Harry Potter world, and you have to decide whether this is something present in.
I like to imagine this entire page was literally just a middle finger to J.K. Rowling, I feel.
Yes,
That's my belief here.
Okay, so this is bigotry doesn't exist. This is it exists but won't show up in the narrative. This exists just like the real world. This is worse than the real world. Dang.
Yeah, this
I
is
see,
worse
I
than
see.
the real world. Oh,
Let me just highlight that because that. Yeah, I think this is the proper way to handle. This is, I like how this page basically assumes that the reader knows Harry Potter or knows of Harry Potter and understands
does,
the
it
underlying.
It really does.
Yeah, and it just is like, hey, that's bad, and handle it before you start the campaign, because if people tap in too heavy into the whole muggle half-blood mudblood thing, it's just like,
You're as a dragon, are you allowed to say those words?
yeah, fam, that's not my
Are
world.
you allowed to say muggle?
That's a different universe. That's a different
I
universe.
get you. Okay.
Yeah.
My
I
bad.
feel, I don't know if I've ever really talked about this head canon, but I myself as Wintry am just a dude or some sort of spirit, and Wiv, who is the mascot, is just the face of the channel. Two different people.
Bug.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if I've ever just
I got a Ken Ashcorp kind of vibe. I get you.
yeah. I'm like the Wyvern's caretaker, so to speak. Like his impromptu dad. But anyway, that's probably not what we're talking about today. This art, by the way, is sick. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, the art of Kids on Brooms. Oh my god.
It's so good.
The people behind this as Hunters Entertainment or Renegade. I don't know which one was responsible for like the art, which was the publisher. I'm not very clear on that one, but like the art in here is fantastic. It's gorgeous. Every page.
Yeah, this is very good.
And so Kids on Brooms was inspired by well, it's like an expansion on Kids on Bikes. So Kids on Bikes very much has the Stranger Things aesthetic, and now apply the Stranger Things drawing 70s aesthetic to a fantasy world, and then you get this, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, this art is really good. Ooh, I do want to highlight this real quick on the spread of the dinner table art spread. This centaur, do they allow people to play races that aren't human in Kids on Brooms?
Yes, they do in this game. That is another conversation. There's really a whole section on page 16 being like, option, playing a different species.
I'm sure we'll get to it. Anyway, we're at character creation. Look at that on page 11. Awesome. Let's see. Character creation. The core of any RPG is the character you're embodying. You and your GM should work together to agree upon a character you'll be excited to play, one who reminds you of yourself in important ways, but also who's different enough from you to be an escape from the real world. If there are boundaries that you want the characters to have or mods that you want to make in the creation process, please do. Core of the game is the experience that the players will have, and anything you want to do to augment that experience is great. Okay, I'm seeing 5 steps here. And is this like the whole of character creation? Is this everything?
Honestly, that's legitimately all of it. And if you just do one, if you skip all the way to page 82, you can really just pick one of these archetypes and not really have to, create your it really like speeds through the process. If you just step 1 and you go to page 82, is all of it.
So these are like tropes. Oh, look at that. So they just like, hey, these are suggestions. I like, wow, this is so useful. Oh my gosh, you could just give this to somebody and be like, hey, do you want to play the muscle? Do this. Hey, do you want to play the slacker? Do this. Oh, that's so good. Wow.
Yeah, it gives you likely flaws, likely strength, what age is expected from these characters, various questions that you might be like, for the Withdrawn Bookworm is question 1. Why do you love studying by yourself? Oh, that's a nice question. That's very specific.
Yeah, I played. Have you? I'm assuming you probably have at least looked at it. Have you played Masks by Magpie Games? Yeah, I love Mask. I really, really love that game. And one of my favorite things about it was the prompt questions on like, hey, how do you relate to your mentor, or how did you react when you first transformed, or things like that. And I'm just like, good, poignant, like pointed questions towards exactly the aesthetic you're looking for. And I like how these do the same thing.
I love these questions, but also I kind of come at this from a designer's perspective. And like when I see questions, I also see them, because a lot of these kind of systems are rules light, and I also see sometimes these questions are also a little bit of padding on the.
Sure.
If I put a bunch of questions on a single page, that's a bit of padding, but also it's important. But also it's the main difference between a system heavy RPG where it needs every page to have like something to add to your character.
Yeah, that's valid. I in in looking into like actually very recently, for anybody in the D&D sphere, the Spelljammer book that came out, some races and classes but okay, I'm sorry, some species and classes were very did you were you surprised I caught that? Were very specifically, I know what you're talking. I know the whole Hadozi deal. Besides that, some species and classes were that's the whole thing. I had a whole video on that I scrapped and took down because it got a little crazy. The whole scene got a little crazy. But some races and classes were deliberately reduced in terms of mechanical capability because they had to fit. They had to fit on one page. They had to be like the one of the races had like 8-ish features, but since only 6 could fit on the page, 2 of the features were scrapped. And it's just like there's a point where the design of the book affected the mechanical strength of these character options, which is a whole discussion. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
no, there's a really good thing to point out. Honestly, it is a lot gets scrapped when it comes to system heavy games. But when it comes to these kind of games, they're always like looking to put in more things to connect your characters with each other.
Yes, of course.
Because another thing with Dungeons and Dragons is the strength of Dungeons and Dragons comes from everyone kind of understanding what that kind of vibe is. They kind of understand like, oh yeah, no, this is a fantasy world, we fight things. But when it comes to other RPGs, they have to do everything they can in the book and in the character creation to hook you into understanding and like touching base with what they're trying to do.
Right. Because I feel like a lot of people are already primed to understand the vibe of medieval fantasy, right? Like if I pull up, I'm sure if I were to ever read Pathfinder, which I eventually will, I don't need to be taught how to understand the concept of a fantasy world with monsters and magic and swords and all that. I already know.
It's literally D&D, but they have their own specific world.
Yeah.
Where you know how think of it like this: D&D has like a bunch of different kind of things. Greyhawk, Eberron. Eberron's freaking amazing. Everyone should love Eberron.
Yeah.
But Pathfinder is Galarian, and that is also a very specific world, which I really like. It's kind of like Disneyland.
Is it? I would know. I couldn't tell you. I've never read it.
It's because like every region kind of has like a majorly different vibe and left field. Like one region is all about trade, one region is all about jungle adventures, one region is all about an evil league of technical masterminds that use alien tech trying to gun you down.
This is
giant spiders.
Very Planescape Magic the Gathering-esque.
It feels like it sometimes, yes.
Yeah, I feel that. And I like when books kind of ease you into like, hey, this is the kind of world you're dealing with. This is the level of magic. This is how everybody understands like the state of the world. And you are this person. Like I recently did Ryutama, and it was medieval fantasy as well.
Okay, you said you only know like 2 or 3 RPGs, but you've listed like 5 or 6. Like,
I know of them,
great.
but when I said I played like 3, but I've never.
Got it.
Yeah, so like I know of like people try to teach me these games, but I never get a chance to actually play them. So anyway, but I liked how that was like, hey, this is the world made by dragons that eat your stories and change the world depending on the stories you give it. And I'm like, that's a sick world building prompt. Let's go from there. And they're like, well,
it's anime Oregon Trail. You want an Oregon Trail, but dragons reading stories? It's great.
Yeah. Anyway, jumping back, jumping back to Kids on Brooms. These tropes, I'm looking at these setup questions. The second question is always so spicy. What's the worst injury you've caused someone else to suffer? Oh my gosh. And, and in this one, doting caretaker, the Hagrid of the group. What did you do that barred you from teaching magic at the school? This is they're in attack mode. They're just aiming at my heart here.
One thing I really like is the first part's always like, "Hi, this one is to build you from your own perspective. This is what this is what has formed you into this trope." And the second one is, what is something you had to deal with because of this trope?
Yeah, like it's to add the depth that so you're not one dimensional based. You're not two dimensional.
It adds depth.
Like this is like, why do you have this trope? How do you subvert it, so to speak? Or like, how do you make yourself more of a real person? Question 2 is usually doing, which I dig. I like it. Cool. We're gonna jump back to the front because I still don't know a lot of these.
Page 11.
Page 11. Cool. Trope selections. Introduce your character.
Trope selections are like, you got your trope, but maybe make some changes. Maybe you want to swap some stats around. Maybe you want to choose which flaw or strength you have. Be different,
Okay. So the tropes we just saw are just some of them. Are there going to be a whole lot in here?
No, that actually, those are all the ones, those are all the examples, but you can kind of make one yourself. So the trope selections are just a major recommendation, but there's always room for you to just make your own,
Got it. Wait, let me just check. How many did they give us? Did they give us like 6 or was there more? What did I miss?
Oh, fam.
There's like so
3,
many.
6, 12, 15, 18, 19. So they didn't give me 20.
My gosh.
The last page they gave us a lo-fi reference, but they gave us 19.
Reliable bestie. Oh, I dig that. What I'm realizing here is that a bunch of these are not necessarily the students. I'm getting some teachers, caretakers. I dig that. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of them. Okay, so
some part of tabletop RPGs, like this corner, also focuses on asymmetric gameplay. You are not always with your party. You have your own goals and your own things to interact with. So you'll see people highlighting their strengths much more commonly versus everyone roll perception.
Oh, that's valid. Yeah, okay. I see that. Yeah.
Also,
I think
don't worry about derailing like this. This is super common in conversations with me.
No problem. Yeah. I don't mind being led in circles as long as I'm learning something along the way. No problem. Okay, cool. So we found a trope. No right or wrong answers. You can pick a bunch of the ones in the back, which are like 19. You'll definitely find something you like. Or you could just make one up, as this paragraph says. Like, you could just truly...
One up.
Yeah. You could pick whatever name you want and then work through what questions you need to answer for it. Because a lot of these are like... They're not hard number things. They're just kind of personality and backstory aesthetics. Yeah.
Here's where you can learn the stats now.
Okay, here we go. I think I understand this.
I think the stats are really nice, personally. I really like these. This is why I also suggested this game, because it has the 6 stat system people are roughly used to, but slightly different.
Okay, I'm gonna figure out why they're different. Okay, first is brains. Book smart. How well they understand problems, how well they're doing in school, how well they're... This seems like intelligence. This is the analog to intelligence. Brawn seems like strength. It does not determine how well they can fight, just how well they can lift things and how much physical damage they can take. It also determines how physically intimidating, a character is. So this is also like so this is like athletics plus intimidation, but not how well they can fight. So this is different. This is probably dealing with magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
There can be really buff people that just can't throw a punch.
Got it. Okay. So brawn and fight. I could not tell the difference between these on mismatch. The stat fight determines how good a combatant a character is.
If you also read fight, you'll get it.
The stat determines how good a combatant how good a combatant a character is with whatever weapons or fighting skills you decide your character knows. Also, they'll be able to learn how to use new weapons and fighting skills more easily if given proper training. So this is kind of like learned fighting. This is like Taekwondo.
Fight in these kind of games, games that are just outside D&D do not expect combat out of players. Combat is not, so they tend to put this as like a separate stat or a separate skill, like Fate, Fate Core, Savage Worlds. They'll all put fighting as a separate stat because this is not necessarily how you are expected to solve problems. It does not expect you will default to it. Part of Dungeons and Dragons' main weakness is that it defaults to assume you're going to attempt to kill your enemy.
Of course, yeah.
So you have to work harder to be pacifistic.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. Like in D&D, brawn and fight would basically be the same stat.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, or this is kind of like armor and weapon. This is like weapon and magic proficiency, so to speak. Like the fight aspect. Like you could have a high strength score, but if you don't have like the proficiency in certain weapons, you won't be able to fight. I guess, okay, I can see how these are differentiated. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, and someone could be brawny but not fighty, and someone could be fighty but not brawny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So someone with high fight, low brawn would be like a caster? Like a...
You could either be a caster or you could be, say,
like a nimble fighter?
Someone that knows martial arts but is very fragile.
Got it. Okay, cool. I see it. Flight.
These games do not assume you're going to be good at fighting.
What is flight? Determines how fast the character is, how skilled they are at evading their problems. If characters with a high flight stat will be fast and tough to trap foes physically and verbally. Oh, so this is like a...
It's not exactly dexterity because one thing I like why they call it flight is because it is a constant reminder that running away is an option. It's always a reminder, which I love.
Yeah, I could see. Oh, so it's like a mix of social and physical in a single stat. It's your ability. It's like a defense stat, so to speak. Like a way to protect yourself.
If you look at these, they both, all of them, aside from like, brains and brawn, have a physical and a mental component to them. Like, fighting is not only your ability to fight, but your ability to know how someone might fight. Flight is learning how to evade a social scenario, actually physically run away, how to be dodgy when someone's trying to ask you a question and pin you down.
Yeah. I'm trying to wrap my... The pauses I'm taking are me trying to erase what I understand about skill proficiencies in D&D.
It's tough.
And it's me like mentally parsing, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes... But it's not that simple. Like, persuasion can be both flight and charm, so to speak. And like, it's not a one-to-one translation. That's interesting. I will hold this in my brain.
I love this right now. The detangling. I like it.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Okay. Charm. I feel like I understand charm. Charm is social adeptness. I can understand that. Oh, but it's also reading emotions. So this is kind of like the insight of D&D. Over here, like understanding. So this is like sympathy, empathy.
It's emotional intelligence.
Ah.
Because when you are emotionally intelligent, you know not only how you work, how to read people, but also how to like kind of worm your way in and like get what you want.
Okay. So, and from D&D terms, this would be a combination of whiz and charm. The ability to like insight and persuade would kind of fit in under this charm umbrella. I understand this. This makes a lot of sense. And then, okay, I could not for the life of me understand what grit was on the show. Because I got brawn, I got fight, and then I'm like, okay, so what is grit?
If I make fun of you, are you gonna cry?
Got it. Okay, I understand.
If I punch you in the face, are you gonna cry? If I do, like, grit is the ability to resist both.
It's also street smart. Okay. Again, I'm gonna try to convert it from my D&D understanding. This is like
doing your best.
this is Constitution essentially. Kinda. But not in like a physical sense.
It takes the defensive elements of wisdom as well.
Yeah.
Because like it is a bit of constitution, but also is resisting. Note that they've decoupled wisdom as a stat here, and it is sparsed out in between other things.
Yeah.
Into charm, into grit, into flight.
Right. Wisdom in D&D is not only a social like understanding, but also a like perception, like physical understanding of the environment. So I could
Can you give me a moment? My dog's being
Yeah, of course.
I think he needs something. I'll be right back.
Dogs take party here. No problem. All right. Let me catch up on chat because chat has been popping off. I see a lot of you guys. The End King, my eyesight is so. I misread doting caretaker as doting catheter. Oh my god. Let's see. Flat land snake. I don't know if I've ever seen you here before, but welcome. Let's see. Imagine a centaur on a broom. That's what this game. You think that if this is a magical world, you think they haven't invented a broom that can carry a centaur? Come on. Of course they have. Like equestrian-shaped brooms absolutely exist. Can't tell me otherwise.
I'm back.
Hi, welcome. I saw a message in chat. Imagine a centaur on a broom, and I replied that there's definitely a broom that is properly shaped to carry a centaur out there.
I feel it requires some kind of like harness mechanic.
Harness mechanic.
Like
I mean,
or maybe keys.
Yeah, there's got to be something. I'm just saying, like not all brooms have to be shaped for humans, so to speak. Oh, new subscriber? No, I'm gonna miss it. Where is it? Revian, new subscriber. Welcome. Okay, sorry. I have the pop-up show up on my screen for like 1 second, and I gotta catch it just when it's there.
That's a little good.
Cool. Yeah, this is. Chat is awesome. Chat is
How are you feeling about the stats?
I get it. I think I would have to play through like a session to truly understand. Oh, this is the stat I use in these situations. It would take like a session or two to understand, but I could see it. I could see it. Like it's very curious how differently they split things up. I like how grit is not only emotional and physical durability, but also like your street smarts, which is something you attribute to somebody who has lived through a lot.
You've gone through things.
So it's the resiliency. Like with resiliency comes an intelligence for people who have gone through it. So that's neat. I like that. For me, the easiest to understand is obviously brains and brawn. Charm is easy to understand. I think fight is what I'm getting used to, because fight doesn't tend to lend itself very well to the 6 ability scores of D&D. It's just kind of something entirely separate, which is neat. Cool, great. I think I understand this so far.
Here's an example. So brawn would be, hi, there's a boulder in front of you. What are you gonna do? If you want to lift it, that's brawn. If you want to punch it, that's fight.
Yeah, if it's rolling towards you and I want to hold it back,
that's flight. If you're gonna try to seduce the boulder, that's charm. If you want to try resist the boulder, that's grit. And if you want to know what a boulder is, that's brain.
Understood. It's like have you heard the tomato analogy for D&D?
I am. I'm just trying to. I feel this one is a bit better for I feel the boulder analogy is a little bit better for kids on brooms. Yeah. But yeah, no, the tomato analogy.
Okay. Now the stats. The stats make sense, I think. So you have from a D20 to a D4 and the whole spread of dice sizes, and you can give these to whatever stat you want. How does this? Because I've never experienced it myself. How does this play out at the table? If somebody has like a D20 and a stat, and someone has a D4 and a stat, because that's a huge difference in the fact that like, so if it's ever a contest and someone has to roll a D20 versus a D4, it's like a foregone conclusion.
What happened? Okay, so here's things. So you tend to not do competitive roles,
Sure.
like unless it's with enemies. So in these kind of situations, a D20 and a D4, as you by their explanation, you can tell what their best and worst stat of anybody is. So you can tell when somebody is going at you with their best, and so in your brain, the stats are not, what's the word, parallel or matching. If you are trying to roll brawn at me, I am not rolling brawn to resist you. I'm rolling grit or flight or charm. So the stats aren't parallel, so you will always be up against maybe a stat that you don't want to deal with, and you have to think outside the box to use any of your other stats to deal with it.
So if there's a mismatch in stats, say your brains aren't comparable in terms of the dice size, you want to switch to use the dice that properly matches it, so it becomes a fair fight.
Yes. You could do that, yes. You learn to pivot, which is what this game does. This game teaches you that, as I was saying earlier, RPGs that are not Dungeons and Dragons has asymmetrical design, so it wants you to think what you're not matching, because in Dungeons and Dragons you're often matching int versus int, whiz versus whiz, con versus con. It is something that you are matching with your opponent, but this one is you want to think outside the box. It encourages you by its design of the rolls and the dice sizes to think around a problem, not through it.
You know what sticks out to me here. I think a good comparison here is to discuss like saving throws. Like if somebody tries to tackle your mind, you're forced to do a wisdom saving throw, which makes sense, But in this system, you would kind of be asked, hey, can you tell me what stat you want to use to like resist this or prevent this? And you try to lean towards your strengths in that. Do you feel like this game calls you to roll very specific things in very specific situations? Or
I would say not. So in this kind of situation, the GM would ask you how you want to handle this.
Got it. Okay.
So you will come to a time where you will be rolling terrible stats. You will come to that point.
Of course.
And you will want to think of every possible way to get out of it, and you won't. And that will happen. But here's the best part about this game. We're not there yet, but this has exploding dice.
Yes.
So if you roll a d10, you roll it again, you roll a 10, you roll again. So your 16, your D10 versus their D20, your 16 can accidentally outmatch the 3.
Yes. And which is super cool. Exploding dice straight up doesn't exist in D&D, so
You
I
can
can appreciate
have
that.
all of the advantages in the world and still F up.
Yeah. And a fun point is that the smaller the dice is, the higher chance it has to explode, which doesn't exactly balance it up, but certainly makes it more exciting when you're rolling your smallest die.
It gives you the random beginner's luck moment. You are so bad at a thing, but somehow the world has, through sheer force of luck, has let you succeed.
Yes. Okay, cool. I dig that. And I've seen, and this is something that goes across all tabletop RPGs. DM will present you with GM will present you with the situation and say, what do you want to do? And as you explain what you want to do, the GM will say, well, that sounds like you want to roll this die. You want to do a brawn roll, or you want to do a brains roll. And that lends itself well. Cool. Okay. Gonna keep going. Grades. Oh, huh. Character grades.
This one isn't as important, but see, this is where I say that there is a mix of the things you need to know to play the game and the things that are GME / world building.
Yeah. I think this is definitely a session 0 conversation. Do you want your party to be incongruous in terms of like how old they are?
And also talks about one of the sections is, hi, how about you guys try to align your schedules? I'm sorry, what? Yeah. Do you want to take the same class? You want to take different classes? Will there be times where only 2 people will be playing and won't? Are you studying for finals and you can't go out at night?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Because it really depends on like what you're In the Harry Potter world, like the main characters were all the same grade, so they went to the same classes and they could handle the same problems together. But if you're going to pick a party that has entirely separate schedules,
It can be difficult.
yeah, you'll play the campaign but in between the spaces where you guys line up, which is interesting in itself, but a bit more limiting, a bit more challenging. Let me see here. When rolling, underclass students automatically receive the innocence strength. I don't know what this is. When rolling stat checks.
It's like think of it like a feat.
Oh, okay.
If you go to page 90, you can see a list of strengths.
Page 90.
Mm-hmm.
That's
All the lists and such are all in the back.
oh, huh. Cool. And when did these kick in? Is there a leveling system in this game?
There is not an innate leveling system, but there is like a magic leveling system in a way. So the more you go to your classes, which encourages you not to skip classes, the more you can learn to be better at certain brands of magic.
Okay.
I have gone. Imagine if I decide to not go to defense against the dark arts, and so I keep skipping it, and so my like fight stat is like D10, but I have it add nothing to it.
I see. And this is so this is neat. So underclass students have +1 to fight and charm, upper class have +1 to fight and brawn, and faculty have +1 to brains and grit. Take that. Okay, cool.
Grit because they've learned how to deal with the troubles of being an adult.
Yeah, because they've burdened the weight of
And
capitalism.
taxes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna skip this because these are just examples. But
Selecting strength and flaws. We talked about that.
yes.
Option playing different species. Option
Oh, here.
including disabled and neurodiverse characters. These are things you won't help you learn the system, but it's very nice to have it.
Yeah. So there's no mechanical advantages to picking a different species, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't want to start statting out.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the right game to stat out different species.
It doesn't.
Yeah, and then this is another question of like bigotry. Do you stereotype different races? Yeah, I feel like in these situations it's okay to have lore upon like what species you choose here, but to give them different stats or to have a prejudice against them, so to speak, is definitely a session 0 discussion. So
you will mostly just be seeing these GME talks, rate, ethnicity, gender, sexuality up until page 20 when they go back into rules.
got it. Yeah. Okay. I think this is cool that they actually tackle neurodiverse characters. I think that's cool that they have a whole section on this because this is not a typical add to TTRPG books. Cool. Okay.
It's not assumed by default.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Ethnicity, gender, sexuality. Got it. Monkaku.
And when we get to overview of magic, this is where you can now understand how the stats also now apply to magic. And why they're all important.
Oh, there's a magic system. Oh my gosh, I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, cool.
You decided to read the entire book in one
Yeah,
sitting.
yeah,
I'm just here to help.
Listen, I have not read the entire book in any sitting so far. I get as far as I can, and when time calls, I'm just like, okay. Or when my throat hurts, I'm just like, okay, time to quit. I think I got 60 pages into Ryutama, and I got 40 pages. I got through one scene in, we did Raccoon Sky Pirates last stream, which is hilarious because we were flying a airship made of trash through the neighborhood, and I relied on chat to get me through, and we almost didn't make it. So, fun stuff. Okay, I want to learn about magic. How are we gonna handle magic here? Magic, not surprisingly, is gonna be. Is this something different from Kids on Bikes? Is this like new?
Kids on, but yeah, I mean, yeah, kids, people and kids on bikes didn't really have magic. In kids on bikes, there was one collective character, which was the 11, that the characters beckon the 11 to like do stuff for them magically. This time, you actually have it in your own hands, so it's very different.
I see.
This is not where we talk about statistical stuff, but this is to understand the kind of magic that's associated with these stats.
Okay. So here, magic always follows two important rules. First, it reflects your personality and intent. It's valid. We drawing on the essence of what makes you who you are. Second, if you practice magic recklessly and maliciously, you can have dangerous consequences. Okay, so this is I'm sure we'll read about it. Let me see if we can get to it when we read about it, and if we don't, then I'll talk about it. The concept that you can roll too high was that
Yes.
Yeah, was that something only in Mismatch, or is that like an actual rule? Because
it is a thing that can be added to this thing. It's a toss-up what you want. I really like the idea of rolling too high, which is really great, but it's kind of up to you guys and the GM.
Got it. Okay, so this is cool. Every stat can be used to cast spells. There's no
Every
magic stat. Got it.
Because your stats are a part of you. They are you in essence, and when you draw upon magic, you're drawing upon you in essence.
Okay, and right, like we said, like you can choose theoretically what stat you want to lean on, which gives you a bigger die, but ultimately the GM will tell you, depending on what you're attempting to do, it'll call for a very specific stat. Like if you're trying to enchant somebody, then you're going to go charm, but if you're trying to dodge out of the way of a monster, then you would have to rely on flight, right? Flight is the one trying to dodge.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, here they start defining like what you can use, how you use it. So fight is attack enemies, break curses, and blast through obstacles, disarming an opponent, causing a target harm, making something explode. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like the loud ability score. It's not called ability scores. What is it called?
This is why I like using the boulder analogy, because now we're back on, okay, fight is make the boulder explode.
Makes sense. Okay. Defense against malicious magic. I see. History of magic and potions. Is the Council of Ethical School of Magic. I dig that. Okay. Flight. Page 21. Your flight...
How are you gonna dodge the boulder coming at you? Are you going to cast a speed spell, etc.?
Transfiguration.
I really like flight. Flight is like my favorite stat among these, honestly.
Yeah, it seems risk averse, so to speak.
Very risk averse.
I get the energy that flight and grit are very defensive stats, whereas fight and maybe even charm are very like forward, like not necessarily defensive but offensive stats. That's the energy I'm getting. But let me see. Charm.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Flight is, I would say you could potentially use flight aggressively, but you need to be like clear about that. So for me, I would say I want to use my broom to swerve around the person and get them from behind. I would use flight to speedily get behind them, which is an aggressive use, even though flight is innately defensive.
Right. There's no really other stat you would use in that situation. Yeah. Okay.
Flight is ducking around, not getting hurt as you run around, etc.
Cool. Okay, I dig that. And then brains. Brains is what I thought would be. You know, you're trained to think brains.
Stat, right?
Yeah, brains equals magic. But here it's very much.
There's a decoupling.
What is this? What is this called in D&D? Divination. It's understanding.
Divination.
It's like an understanding.
Some places will call it thaumaturgy, understanding the core of magic, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, this is cool. So brains doesn't feel like a hurt people ability, so to speak.
Exactly that. Because like wizards, oh my god, like one of my favorite like things about Brennan is when he said if EXP was really what took for you to be a better wizard, first day of wizard school would be, hi everyone, let's go kill goblins. But what about reading a book? Books won't help you cast magical powers. We need to kill goblins.
Yeah, I mean, flawless logic. Yeah, so brains in this situation is almost entirely decoupled from the concept of hurting people, which is neat, which is cool.
I love it.
And then brawn is when you gotta move things to keep things protected. This is binding opponents. I was gonna say this is also not very offensive leaning. It's very much utility focused. Just neat. Okay.
You are using your power to, let's say, affect the world and or lower, like, bind and suppress people. So like rope magic, that'd be binding, that'd be brawn, because your physical might is holding them down.
Sure. Yeah. This is like magically locking doors with brawn. That's actually a pretty difficult stretch for me. I feel like my intuition would say magically locking doors is like brains, but I guess it's not, because it's not, you're not holding
I mean, you could interpret that way. You can interpret that way with the GM being like, I feel I knowledgeably know how doors work, so this should keep it shut. So if you deal with the mechanism. However, think of it coming from a dungeon delver. Hi, so this door, even though you've unlocked it, is physically held there by magic, and you can't seem to push it unless you dispel it. You see the difference?
I see. Okay. Yeah. This feels like these three things feel like the most farthest apart in terms of like thematically. But I can understand how brawn is like force of movement. Kind of like either keep things still or get them out of the way, so to speak.
It is sheer force.
Yeah. And then let's see. Charm is enchantment.
One thing that'll help. Think of brawn like telekinesis. That actually works. Like, locking doors would be something holding the door shut. Levitation is lifting it, binding. See, it is... telekinesis is kind of like the most meathead kind of spellcasting, because it just moves stuff.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I can
Holding someone is moving him in closer together.
Yes. Let me see here. Charm.
Chernobyl actually has a really good point in chat. D&D has tuned players to think about harm and harm reduction rather than giving you the ability to change the world around you. You think about how things hurt and don't hurt people rather than how can you actually affect things. How do you manipulate the world?
Yeah. And I think charm is one of the exemplifies some of the softer magics, which is, well, not softer. Actually, enchantment is actually, in my opinion, the most dangerous magic school.
Gotta be careful.
But there's also illusion here. There's also, mostly illusion magic. I'm seeing here. Enchantment, illusion seems to be the energy for charm. I see. So it's like misdirection, disguises, things like that.
A little bit manipulative.
Yeah, they have this whole paragraph about like don't charm other people, which is mandatory. People always are like, oh, in D&D, like, oh, necromancy is the worst wizard. I'm like, no, enchantment's the worst wizard. From a morality standpoint, enchantment's the worst wizard. Necromancy is just necromancy has its problems, but it's a very blunt. It's like a blunt hammer kind of problem.
It doesn't like take away anyone's agency. You know?
Yeah, exactly. But...
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, I understand charm. Charm is simple enough. And then grit is defensive magic. So this is abjurative magic. This is protecting things, and this is I can see this.
Resisting, defending, dealing with creating walls, etc.
Cool.
Yeah, it's also healing.
And very distinctly, not defensive in a telekinesis sort of way, but more of a defensive, preventative magic or restorative magic. I see. Okay, I'm getting it. Things are clicking. Things are clicking.
Clickety clack.
Okay. Wands.
Like dice in your head.
Okay, so wands a big deal. How big of a deal on a scale of 1 to 10 are wands?
2. They're
Okay,
stats.
cool. They're just stats. I see.
The core and the wood give +1 to 2 different stats. Effectively.
Oh.
They cannot be the same stat, has to be different. Hence the balance.
So +1 to 2 stats. I see. I see.
But you can make the wood and the core a really good roleplay element. They have a really good example on the next page of why the wand did matters.
On this page?
No, page 23 with the art, with the brown stuff.
Oh,
Parchment.
This. Oh, yeah. So like when the wand that you have doesn't necessarily match up with your ideals for yourself and or are impressed upon you by other people. The concept of your wand changing is a change in perspective of yourself or your truer self. I dig it.
I would actually say brooms are more important than wands, TBH.
And this is all, well, it's in the name, right? It's not kids on wands. Yeah, okay, that's just cool. Yeah, and if you like pick up somebody else's wand, this is a way of conveying that it's not tailor-made for you, in that it might be leaning towards the strength of somebody else. I dig that. This is actually really cool thing. I like this because it's like an ASI that you pick up, so to speak, and you hold on to.
Exactly. It naturally incorporates your stat benefits with a character element.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that.
Oh, the End King asks, can it be a staff? Yes. There is optional non-wands at the bottom of page 22. If you want, make your wand a Roomba. I don't care.
Yeah, if you'd rather have the caster use an object other than a wand to focus your magical energies, feel free to talk to the GM. Yeah. In Misfits and Magic, one of the people uses a basketball to cast spells. So
yes,
it could truly be anything. And that would make a lot of sense why that wouldn't be conducive to other casters if they were to pick up his wand, because it doesn't make sense.
I can see a wizard going like, "Hey, catch!" Then using a bronze spell for a pass, and then the other person catching it just gets flung off into the distance.
Yeah.
Meathead magic, brawn.
Let's talk about brooms, because I'm still trying to understand how Archmagister kids on wands. It's not kids on wands. Yeah, that's exactly why. Let's see, brooms. So I'm walking into this blind. The only thing I know is you fly on them. What else could it possibly be? One of the best parts about magic school is having your own broom. On campus, chances are you can fly a broom. Most sports at the school include brooms. Certainly the most popular and socially important ones do. When choosing your broom, be sure you know the story about how you got it. The caster's room is already special to them. Did you save up? Was it a gift? Depending on the story, it makes more sense for you to pick a broom for yourself, to have the GM pick one for you, or decide on the broom. The brand name of the broom? An adjective.
You go into the next page, it'll tell you brand, it'll tell you the rider, it'll tell you some mechanical benefits.
Huh.
You can also design your own broom. You got to work it with the GM and bam. Also, it tells you if a broom is suited for you. If you are a high-flying person, but you have a level-headed broom, it's not going to click.
Huh. Oh, these are words that I don't know yet.
These are strengths. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, it says here, you may treat snap decisions as planned actions. Words I still have yet to know, but I'm sure I'll get to it. When you perform a stunt? Oh, cool. There's a stunt broom.
Yeah.
I like that.
Daredevil's duster.
Stunt broom. Wow, this one is a big one. This is actually a big deal. I remember adversity tokens in the show. They were used all the time.
First tokens are a big deal, yes.
Yeah. Do you?
But it's only while riding the broom.
Oh, only okay. That helps. I was gonna say like this feels a little weird if you can like meta be optimal about these.
You
I don't know.
can't be always flying on your broom in class.
Yeah. I was gonna say like these benefits might be a little too strong to use all the time. So
Yeah.
I dig
But
it.
only while riding them.
Okay, I see it. I can see this. All right, familiars. Oh, familiars. These are the animals, right? Yeah.
No, there's nothing statistic until page 43. So you've got approximately 16 to 20 pages of mostly fluff.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at the pretty pictures. Hey, Centaur Man. Look at the pretty pictures and yeah. So this is a lot of what we've already discussed: character creation and walking through a lot of the things you like.
Page 37 you might want to check out. It is suggested classes.
What page is this? What page am I on? 36. Suggested classes. Oh my gosh, there's a whole I immediately saw like tiers and marks. So this is the system of if this is a multi-session campaign, you choose 3 classes and you slowly improve your stats based on the classes you've chosen.
Yes.
Here,
so if you go to class twice, you get a +1 on relevant magic related to that class. If you go to a class 6 times, you get +3. And if you go to a class 10 more times, that is, you get a +5. So in total, you would need to take like 18 credits, which is credits in the regular university. Yeah.
I see. But in a game like this, it's very narrative focused. I feel like it is an interesting like leveling system that I'm not sure I would be too invested in during a playthrough. I'd be like, if I have time, I'll do this, but like
you can get these marks very quickly. We're like so because of these classes, and think of the Harry Potter set up again, of like you don't see when they're always in class. You're like, okay, so I'm gonna go. So for this week, what classes do you guys go to? Well, I go to this class, and this class. All right. So something happens on Saturday. Think of it like that. Got it. Harry Potter 1 showed you Wingardium Leviosa, but by Harry Potter 2 or 3, they're like, yeah, classes happen in the background.
I see. So this is not like an active sort of thing, but you could kind of downtime it and put it in the background.
Yeah, effectively, yeah.
Got it. Nice.
We don't need to roleplay every class, unless the class is important. Please, the one thing you learn in one other thing you want to decouple with when D&D, and reading Ryutama won't help you with this one because D&D wants you to be meticulous with every freaking action. It wants you to know what you're gonna do when you wake up, what you do in the morning, evening, night, when you poop. Because I don't know, maybe a slime attacks you when you poop.
That's exhausting.
But in a lot of RPGs, they'll be like, okay, we're going to focus on the moments that are important. So there are things that happen in the background. And you know what? If your GM wants you guys to roleplay taking midterms, well, I guess you're taking midterms.
Yeah, I'm sure there's. I remember I read through I read through a lot of D&D Strixhaven, and they had like very light mechanics on taking exams, studying, cheating, going through classes. Like there were very light mechanics on that, and obviously not too thorough because for whatever reason Dwatsi is allergic to long books. It was helpful for school settings, but I feel like this actually
but not great.
Yeah, not amazing. Anyway, suggested classes to take. Looks sick.
But yeah, again, decoupling the roleplay every moment versus roleplay what's important.
Okay, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this.
What class did you
Summoning.
take?
Summoning, of course.
You take summoning? You're a summoner?
I would very much enjoy it. Oh, if I was a student, I gotta choose 3.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Transfiguration's kind of sick. I think that's just like super duper cool. I like how they specify non-harmful magic on charms. Astronomy, divination. I'm not really a potions guy.
It's tough. You're picking your schedule right now. This is gonna affect the rest of your life.
What? This is
You
hard.
might have a parent that tells you you better take potions. If you don't
No.
take potions, we're not gonna give you an allowance.
But I don't want to be a well-rounded wizard. I want
Well, I
Change
guess you're gonna be a
things.
well-rounded wizard.
to. I want to change
You take
things
those
to things.
potions.
Can I just take transfiguration 3 times? No. Okay.
No, you, no, you can't.
Well,
take that.
well, I'm coming for brooms. The brooms is
Yes,
that class
brooms.
that like your mom would be like, you don't really need brooms. It won't make you smarter. I'm like, I'm taking brooms.
I'll see you in Broom's class.
Taking brooms. And then probably this would be like mandatory, so I don't want it. I'd take this one.
If you think about it, Harry Potter was actually kind of a jock.
Oh yeah, he was. He was head
didn't
of
really
the.
know a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he was absolutely the jock of the trio. Yeah, because
Hey, I know the broom. I know how to cast attack, and I know how to get hit by the Dark Lord a bunch of times.
Defense Against the Dark Arts was basically the only class he was good at, and then he played Quidditch.
Yeah, pretty much. That and brooms.
Everything else Hermione carried him through. So okay, so I'm getting the vibe that
It's kind of-
I'm basically Harry Potter with a touch of transfiguration, touch of polyjuice.
Such apologies.
Anyway, which one did you choose? Which one's
I would pick Defense Against Malicious Magic. I'd pick brooms, but I think I would also pick. Ooh, that's hard. Yeah, defense, brooms, and I might go numerology.
take math class in wizard school?
Yeah, that's the best way to know how to. Yeah, no, shoot, the way you put it like that hurts.
No, I'm sure it's useful. In actually D&D has I'm sorry I keep using D&D as a reference one because it's the only one I have.
I was expecting that. That's fine. No, this is really good because part of this experience is think of me like a filtration system. You tell me D&D stuff, and I will tell you like how that translates to other things.
Yeah. So in Strixhaven they have a subclass called Quandrix, and Quandrix is the study of numeromancy. So so they studied like advanced equations and the science behind math, and it basically translated into you being able to like teleport your friends places because you understand like spatial dimensions, and changing the odds of spells landing and not landing. So you could put demerits on people's attack rolls or add saving throws. Like you were re-aiming the magic with your own magic.
Right.
Like imagine bending a guiding bolt, so to speak. So it was kind of sick. And probably one of my favorites of the 5 in that book.
Can I show you something awful?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna link you a Pathfinder feat.
Uh-huh.
It's called Sacred Geometry.
Sacred Geometry. All right, I'm gonna read this aloud for the class. Hold on.
Sacred Geometry is a feat that
Why
lets
is
you
it
take
so long?
two magic feats you don't have, then lets you calculate
no,
the
no.
prime constants
No.
of the spells.
I don't like this at all.
The prime constants
No,
are
get this away
depending on
from
your
me.
spell level, going from 3 to 107. Then you have to calculate using rolled dice
Oh my
to get a dice
gosh.
pool of say 6, 6, 4, 3, and 1 to calculate, add, and multiply 3, 7 or some reason, and then just
I hate this.
all to cast a magic missile with no additional effects.
Is this a meme? Is this
No, it is legitimately a feat in Pathfinder that they like. I don't know. I think they were all high to create this because it's an official feat. You can take it, and if you go to a table with it, a GM might actually like kick you off the table or punch you. I had a friend that brought a sacred geometry character to a table, and I told him, "You're not eating pizza tonight."
Honestly, this is the kind of thing I'd look at and I'd hate, and then after an hour I'd be like, I want to master this. I want to get
you don't.
I want to get really good at this. I want to be really, really good at this, to the point that like my friends will look at me and groan as I do this sacred geometry.
Fam.
But to the
Legitimately, Pathfinder is often joked as Math Finder, and this is like the literal worst it gets.
Why have I not
It
heard
is
about
awful.
that? It's hilarious. Oh my gosh. So anyway,
So
I
bad.
can't show. Can I? Let me see if I can do this in. Can I show Chrome? I want to show people. Give me a second. Where is it?
I'm also dropping the link.
You can't stop me. This is my stream. This is my
No,
stream.
I don't want to know the effective prime constant level of a 7th level spell.
I'm streaming. I'm streaming here. Okay,
You
we're all
can't
looking at it now.
I don't
Everybody,
understand- I don't understand this. Does
Look at it.
anyone understand this?
but I want to. We're not gonna do it today. But
Anyone that tells me they understand this, I feel is lying to me. There's no way anyone gets this.
no, there's absolutely. If there isn't, there should be a YouTuber who covers very specifically sacred geometry and how it works and the advantages to using it. Because this is like, I got a couple of friends in my back pocket who would eat this up as something they would love. What in the world? This chart is this is maniacal. This right here.
This chart's
This is-
insane.
This is criminal. Whatever this is, I don't understand what it is, but it's criminal. This should not exist by any means.
Oh, this is one of the worst things to exist ever in all tabletop RPGs. People have banned this feat not because it's OP, but it takes too long to calculate. Got freaking 3rd level magic missile.
This is so funny. Oh my, 6 times 6 plus 4 minus 2.
You need knowledge engineering. It's not spellcasting. It's knowledge engineering. A nightmare.
This has to be a meme. I don't know what
It's
it would.
not. It's not.
Because if this was in any way, we're not even on Kids on Brooms anymore. If this was in any way optimal, people would learn this. People would master this.
It's not good. It's not optimal, but
Okay,
people still do
okay.
it.
It's not optimal. That's good. That's promising. That's promising.
No,
Is it
no,
really?
that means the people that do it are just doing it for the memes.
I-
It's worse.
This is the most interesting thing I've heard about Pathfinder so far. I refused. I have to stream the first time I'm reading Pathfinder. I'm not going to read it on my own. And my friend have told me somewhere in the later half of February that we were going to try one game of Pathfinder. I'm saving the day I read this book for a stream moment because I want to learn it. I want my reactions to be true when I'm reading through Pathfinder for the first time.
I have never seen a table listed as the prime constants table. Never in
This
my
is-
entire life.
This is hilarious. Whoever made this is a jokester. Okay, anyway, let's get back to, let's wrap up Kids on Brooms because we got
Please.
only a little bit of
Please.
time. If we're aiming for a 10
I
p.m.
would
finish.
suggest skipping the 43.
Class 43. Sure. Playing the game. Oh, okay. Let's see, stat checks. Yeah, so Lucky Break is the exploding die, right? So if you roll the max number on your die, you roll again and it keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So what is this? You can have multiple lucky breaks, but as soon as your total is at or above the difficulty, you have to stop.
Yeah, stop.
You have to
Stop.
stop.
You won. You passed.
Yeah,
you
that's-
passed already.
That's really funny. That they tell you like stop. Very
The
solid.
game tells you, please stop.
Cool. Okay. Keep in mind that you can roll without bonuses, or a lucky break is 20. That number is extraordinarily unlikely even with those. However, it doesn't mean the difficulty can be higher than 20 in impossible feats. I see. Now, what about that mechanic that they were using in Mismatched, like take half? is that a proper mechanic in this game?
That's different. That's different. That
Okay.
is the page literally after.
Okay,
Page
okay.
46.
Choosing a stat. Got it. We've already gone through this. Choosing a stat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The cut it out, you guys rule.
What are we? Did I pass it? Sure.
No, keep going.
Linear grader. Yep. These are DCs. I understand that. Planned.
The
Okay.
page after, plan versus snap decisions.
Okay. This is the one. Planned actions are
Alright.
skill checks. And when you have
I
time
can
to
explain
think.
this if you'd like.
Sure.
So planned action is you have time in order to like decide how to do something. I'm telling you, okay, you have to plan for finals. How are you going to plan for finals? You have time, ergo you can take half of your die as an automatic success, effectively. So if you have a D20 and the DC is 7, you automatically pass because half of 20 is 10.
Got it. Got it.
Now, snap decision is what a lot of D&D players are used to. You have to make a decision now.
Okay, so only. Oh, okay. So only planned actions can take half,
Mm-hmm.
but snap decisions are always rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you can't take for those. I see.
Also,
Okay.
the note is every time you fail a check, you get an adversity token.
Right. When you get an adversity token, you can save it for another roll later, and it adds a +1 to your roll.
In planned action, you can share adversity tokens. So I have like plus. Let's say I have two adversity tokens, and you fail. In that planned action, I have the time in order to help you out.
Got it. Oh, okay. So
but you can't in a snap.
So snap. The purpose of snap decisions is to kind of force the player to rely on the roll and just their roll.
Mm-hmm. You're relying on yourself.
And you can't spend. Can you spend your own adversity tokens on your own rolls?
You can. You always can. But it's just very clear that planned actions are the only time you can share with other people.
Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Narrating the results. I know how to do that.
It gives you a bunch of scales of how high or how low you did in comparison. But yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It gives you, because this game assumes you don't know other tabletop RPGs, so it gives you the structure of what those successes and fails looks like.
The failure is profound.
Profound.
Oh, okay. So wow, there are deep consequences for rolling very low.
Yeah, there's let's say you have to deal with something that's DC 15 and you know you're gonna fail. You want to do instead? Okay, so I'm running away. This is too hard for me. I will like die.
I see. Okay. So if
Okay.
you roll this low, then it's just like maybe it's best not to.
Yeah, you can get an idea of the DC, and because you get an idea of the DC, you understand the scale of failure.
Yeah, D&D does this very lightly in being like, if your roll is 5 or lower or 10 or lower, then you get petrified or you get sent to another plane. Like that's very rare. But I guess here they're
D&D
like,
primarily does it doesn't do it very often.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And yeah, now push narrative forward. Like the concept of failing up, is like no matter what the story progresses, which is neat. Okay.
Stat checks and fears, page 51. But you want to skip that so we can get to like spell checks, because this is the unique part.
Sure.
Page 52, but the tables are on page 54.
I'm just scrolling to page 54 here.
So for the tables, you design the kind of spell you're making, or you have an idea what the spells you're doing.
Right.
So you go to page 54.
Yes. So I'm here, and like, am I understanding like the DC increases based on?
This is actually what you're setting the DC to, personally.
Yeah. What's the starting number on
The
this?
spellcrafter is making this. The starting number is 0.
Oh, starting number is 0.
Yeah, you are making your spell right here.
Oh, that's sick. Oh, wow, this is cool. Oh, I like this. So you're like, hey, I want to summon 50 snakes in a pool. So you're like, okay.
That is reality bending. So
Yeah.
that's plus 5 minimum.
Plus 5 minimum.
That's big. So that's plus 5 again. So that's 10. Duration instantaneous is 0. And is this the first time you cast a spell?
Duration. I don't
Plus
want
0.
I don't want the spell. I don't want the snakes to be only like there for a second. A few minutes.
Oh, we have a few minutes. So
a few minutes of a
that's
snake
10
pool.
plus 1, and you've never cast a spell before. That's 16 to cast a bunch of snakes.
Not impossible.
Do you want to do that? It's a little insane.
Not impossible.
So you personally have an understanding of your scale of magic.
I see. That's actually really cool. I like this. This is a very simple way of homebrewing spells and making sure that like.
You are crafting your spell right here with these 2 tables.
Yeah, I really like that. Wow. Is there a bad one? Yeah, there is. I was gonna say. Is there a particular lower?
This? Anyone seen cast a spell or read about it? Okay, I would like to cast butts. What does it do? It summons a bunch of butts. Okay, so no one's ever cast this spell before. Are you sure? Yes, I can assure you, no one in the wizarding world has casted the butt spell.
Amazing. I take that.
Wait, you can make it permanent. You can make a permanent butt on the wall.
Is that a reality bending? A reality breaking?
Yeah, I think that's reality bending.
Okay. I understand this.
Yeah, that's
This
a
is
really
cool.
dumb spell. That's a really dumb spell. I'm not gonna lie.
And then this is ethical use of magic. This is like, hey, don't hurt people or else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Kids on Bikes. Well, I don't know if this is true, but I know I heard that Kids on Bikes has a rule where it's like you don't kill the kids. And if you kill the kids, like you're done, basically.
Yeah, page 60, it talks about combat. Every time you get into a scrap, there's a risk of death. This is the thing.
Of course.
Every time. So that's something you want to consider. You could kill the kids if you want to, but like the world will be responding in kind. This is a tragedy. This shouldn't have happened. The Dark Lord has risen again. Yada yada.
Of course.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, combat
So-
involving magic, violation of school's rules, and immediate suspension.
Mm-hmm. Everything after here is mostly optional. You now roughly understand how to play Kids on Bikes.
Thank you. That's
I
awesome.
mean, Kids on Brooms.
Kids on Brooms.
Brooms.
Yeah, and here like this is like duels and stuff, like understanding like people attacking each other, so to speak. And potions, spending money, capitalism. Got it. Oh, cool art.
Capitalism! Everyone loves capitalism!
And this is GM stuff. Okay, awesome. I'm just gonna skip to see if there's anything super cool. Oh, I should probably show the character sheets. Oh, that's art. Oh my gosh.
The last page.
Tropes. Oh wait, I have it here. Kids on Brooms. So this character sheet, I can't emphasize enough. This character sheet is 1 page long, right? It's
Yep.
just this.
Clean.
So don't stress too hard if you have to make a character in Kids on Brooms. It's very, very straightforward in terms of. I think the most complicated thing is understanding roles and stuff. But other than like the modifiers through classes might be a little bit complex, but otherwise the system seems really easy to pick up, and also lends itself to a long-term campaign, which is nice. I appreciate
And we
that.
learned this in approximately an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah.
Hour and a half. There you go.
There was no sacred geometry to be seen.
Please.
I've heard a rumor, and this is off topic, that there are over 1,000 feats in Pathfinder. Is that true?
Be more? I don't know. So Pathfinder 1. So Pathfinder 1 and Dungeon Dragon 3.5, I call research games. The more you research, the better or more understanding you have of the game.
Yes, I believe that.
Yes. Yeah. Research games.
Yeah.
Other than that, you will not use most any of them. You will randomly find hyper specific use cases and like see so the Munchkiny I'm going to be super powered thing stops after about like a couple of months of playing Pathfinder because it's really easy to break the game. But the people that linger there start making really stupid things. Like I had this one guy, Keo.
Call him out. Say his name.
He made an entire build with a volcano person that released ash, and the whole strategy is that he found a feat that create a loophole where he can just keep holding somebody, and he learned that if you keep grappling somebody in smog, they die after 10 rounds. But that was 10 rounds of him just rolling to keep the hold, and I'm like, buddy, come on.
Yeah, there's a certain point I think that everybody realizes. Hopefully, everybody realizes in their combat D&D career that like sometimes the most optimal thing isn't the most fun thing. Like
Pathfinder, you get a lot of weirdos. And when I say weirdos, I mean good weirdos because you will find like Sorry, can I have another example?
Yeah, sure.
One character of mine, Holly, or a clone of her at least. The best way to use dual-wielding gun knives was to have both of my hands possessed by a fairy and an alien. It was a really dumb build. I did no damage, but I did it, and I feel very proud of it.
Well, yeah, dumb builds exist for the sheer aesthetic. D&D does that on a much lesser scale, or I would imagine. There are some weird builds in D&D, but I don't know. Not too many of them are optimal or interesting in a fun way. I personally think grappling is super duper fun in D&D. It's a very weird. It's weirdly complex and it has layers of depth that weren't previously there. But you know, when I eventually dip my toes into Pathfinder and learn more about that game, I'm sure there will be many things that surprise me. But for now,
I'd recommend Pathfinder 2 if you're used to fighting. Yeah. Pathfinder 1 is its own bag.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm positive. Sacred Geometry, I'm absolutely going to look into. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this stream. How does it feel?
I poisoned you.
How does it feel that my major takeaway, 100% of my knowledge about Pathfinder, is Sacred Geometry?
This entire stream was for naught. It was all Sacred Geometry.
I hope everybody in chat also learned about Sacred Geometry, but more importantly,
Kids on Brooms.
Kids on Brooms. Looks like a fun game. Seems pretty darn easy to run and play from my immediate impression. The flavor is there. The world building, although they don't provide lore, like
you kind of know how Harry Potter plays. You gotta know. You
can write it down yourself. Basically, is what this game is trying to tell you. And a lot of opportunities to grow your character in role play and mechanics, and really express yourself through the imagination of the arcane. Which I dig. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you, Dice Queen D, for bringing your audience here and sharing this little space with us. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at Dice Queen D. Dice Queen D. I don't know how you can get that wrong. Just Dice Queen D.
D is spelled D-I. Yeah.
D-I. People keep calling me Dice Queen Die, and I cry every time. Thank you, by the way, Wintry, for getting my name right on the first time.
I just guessed.
So much.
I just guessed. Yeah, it was a 50-50. And I didn't ask you.
No,
and I didn't ask you before stream. I shot in the dark as the stream was going.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful you chose the right one. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Check out these stuff. And hopefully we have a few more streams like this where we just get to hang out with people and learn new games.
Yeehaw.
I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya. And this is where I just let chat write itself out if anybody's still saying bye. Peace.
Yeah.